Hey, this is Sasha, and thanks for joining me here for another episode of Let's Talk Stocks. And today we're going to talk about stock market mentors and also stock market coaching. And I'm going to cover a couple of points here. I'll talk about my Thailand trip. We'll look at what is a mentor, how they help, and do you really need one? So these are the couple of points that we'll talk about. And I'm going to start with basically my Thailand trip, and I'll share with you an insight with where we went and got ourselves a guide. And in a way, a guide is kind of like a mentor because they guide you through things. And with our guide, since we didn't know the country and the area, and we had some specific things that we wanted to see, and we went around and we said, hey, these are the things we'd love to see. And they took us around. Now, there was one point when we were on our Thailand trip, there was a weird little road that we wanted to get to. There's a little bit of a kind of a bank area hotel where there was some sightseeing, about 6-hour drive in this weird and funky road. Okay, so we started over here in Maine, Bangkok, and then we went and we drove and we had to drive. And right around, I think about the 2 to 3 hour mark of getting into this up a mountain trip, we had a breakdown. The axle of the wheel broke because the roads are really weird and funky. So we hit a bump, the axle broke, the tire fell off. So the guide, what he ended up doing, we actually sat there kind of on the road for a couple of hours while he went back to go ahead, get himself another vehicle, and then come back to pick us up. So that way we could get back to our area where we wanted to go and see. Now, we were stranded here for a little bit of time, but it allowed us to, hey, be at peace to go ahead and keep moving forward in our journey, even though there was some delays. And the guide took care of this whole problem and issue that we had. So with that in mind, what is a mentor? And a mentor is basically a guide. So they help you navigate the waters of trading. So if you're looking for someone that's just a little bit more experienced in the area, that's really what a mentor is. That's really what a coach is they have some vision, some perspective. They know the land, they know the area, they know the region. Because would we have known, hey, how do we pick up a car, a ride, go back here, come back, and what road to take? Because there's a bunch of different roads that you could have taken. We had to know with no street signs, it's very difficult to navigate a country in that way. And the same thing in the stock market world. It's difficult to navigate if you don't have the full perspective. So that's really what a mentor is. They're a guide, they coach you through things, and they help you by showing you what you could do, what opportunities you have, what chances you have, and what's in front of you. So for example, let's just say a mentor could be a 10-year-old kid that helps a 6-year-old kid learn to read. Okay, so they help by guiding you, by motivating you. So if you need some motivation, they go ahead and provide that. They show you the perspective of what to do. They show you the path. They show you the risks, the problems, how to pronounce things, right? If you're learning to read, how do you do this? What should you look at? What are the things that you need to focus on? Okay, so that's how they help you, is they show you all of these different things. Now, the big question is you're probably wondering, hey, do I really need one? Okay, do I need a mentor and guide? So the big question is hey, do I need to spend money, spend the time? If I'm already getting these books and maybe courses, do I really need one? And the answer is no, you really don't. No, you don't need one. We didn't need a guide on our Thailand trip, but it would have been much more difficult. Say, for example, someone would have to go back and figure out, hey, how do I do the logistics of getting another vehicle, and how do I navigate the road? And you get sidetracked. So really, they help you stay away from getting into trouble. So let's say you're taking a trip and you want to see all these different points, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. So you want to see all these different areas, okay? And you're trying to go ahead and go into this area, but then you get a little sidetracked, right? You say, hey, oh, look at these beautiful flowers. Or, hey, look at this building. Let's stop by over there. Or look at this restaurant. Let's stop by over there. So you get a little sidetracked, and then you go ahead and you finally reach point number 1. Then you get out of point number 1, you start moving, and you want to go to point number 2, and you're starting to move in this direction. And then you say, hey, well, oh, I like this thing. So you start and visit this other point, let's call it point A, and you get, again, sidetracked. Eventually you make it to point 2, but it just takes you a little bit longer, okay? Then again, you leave, and then you go and you get sidetracked and you wiggle. Whereas with a guide, right, with a guide, all you're doing is you're going right here, boom, to point 1. Then you go to point 2. Then you go to point 3. Then you go to point 4. It's more of a direct path. Now, there are some disadvantages to this because you then don't get to explore things or randomly bump into things and see things for the beauty that they are as you're taking a trip or as you're learning the stock market, but you get a direct path. So it allows you to compress your time to get what you need out of it rather than, hey, drifting away into other areas. And that's really the whole point of the guide. Do you need one? No, you don't need one. But does it help compress your time, your education, that learning curve? Yes, absolutely. Because they allow you to stay focused on the things that you need and the things that you want to see, the things that you want to learn, rather than drifting into other areas. They simplify things a little bit more. So I hope this is a little more practical and you understand the bigger perspective of what a mentor, what a coach, what a guide really does for you when it comes to the stock market. Is really they help compress your time that you need to spend in learning the market. Now, a mentor and a coach is a little more different. When you look at a mentor, they're telling you, hey, these are the books you should read, then go ahead, study them, then we'll discuss those things and we'll take things to another step. Whereas a coach might actually say, okay, well, here's the books you should read. These are the lessons you got to get from it. And they're really kind of watching out and hand-holding you a little more. Whereas a mentor is just guiding you, saying, hey, this is what you kind of need to do. Whereas a coach is more disciplined and right on your back to tell you, hey, this is what you're doing. Are you doing it? If you're not, okay, get to it. So they're more on top of you. So it's a little bit different, whereas a mentor is allowing you to see the bigger perspective and allowing you to do your own work rather than just trying to keep pushing you and motivating you. Hey, if you don't want to read the books that I tell you to, then don't read the books. That's your choice. You're an adult now, right? So that's the main difference. But as far as, a guide here, a coach, a mentor, their main perspective and goal in the stock market world, at least for me, what I do with my students, is to compress that time so that you're not drifting all over the place, wasting your time and energy learning the wrong things or things that you really don't need or are not necessary so you can get into trading, investing, or living your life. Now, I discuss many more of these psychological and mental concepts in my upcoming book, Mindsets of a Master Trader. And if you want to get notified when this book is released, be sure to get on the newsletter list by clicking the button right over here or in the description. Thanks again for joining me. And remember, do what you love, contribute to other people, but most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you in the next video.